Hey everybody, welcome back to Spiritual Devil, where I got to thinking that I had at least one more acoustic guitar that I had not reviewed for you. So this particular guitar is made by Yamaha. It is one of two Yamaha guitars that I have. The other one is the Yamaha made out of bamboo. It's the bamboo one is the FGX-B1, I believe. And this particular guitar is a Yamaha Compass Series CPX-15EA. And it's got some amazingly detailed work going on. It's got beautiful wood. I'll be showing you the guitar front and back in the style of the old videos that I used to share, where I was showing you these guitars and telling a story. This particular guitar, since it is of a later era, I want to pair it to a later song, which you've probably heard before, but maybe you didn't ever hear the completed version. This song is called Spiritual Devil, and again, it's being presented to you on a Yamaha CPX-15EA. So I hope you enjoy it.
What's the point of living with no wrong or rights? After I had died, I had shed all my sins. Wonder how much time till we'll shed all our old skins. Once we start to see we're each other's solution, then we'll start to see past each other's illusions. Maybe it's the spiritual devil we hear. The Lord is my salvation, so whom shall I fear? Maybe it's the way that I feel when you're near. Maybe it's the way that our ways disappear.
Incidentally, and I'll probably show a graphic right now on the screen, but I recently designed some guitar picks to go with this third set of songs. You may be able to notice if you're watching this video in 4K resolution that I am sweating right now. I'm still sweating. I earlier ran over a half mile, which it's not marathon distance running or anything like that, nor is it at an accelerated pace where I'm doing anything extreme. But at this point in time, what I'm trying to do is effectively regain my health. And so I've been showcasing some of this process online because some of the videos that I showcase that have to do with health seem to receive a better viewership than, for an example, just some of these songs that I present. A lot of times I can present a song and people really don't even hear the words because this isn't something that you're familiar with. If you're familiar with something, you're going to watch it, and if you want to become familiar with something, you're going to watch it over and over. In order for something like that to happen, someone has to have a fan base. Now, I recognize that I have a fan base because there are a number of you, and by a number, sometimes I mean a very limited number, and sometimes a gigantic number. There are a number of you that provide feedback on the videos that I'm sharing with you here. Today is Saturday. I believe it's September the 24th. I don't remember looking at a calendar ahead of time, so I'm just kind of naming the date off the top of my head. And in this particular setting, I am 1 week away from my final post on this channel. What's going on is I put in my 2-week notice. My 2-week notice had a lot to do with I am regaining my health. I am definitely reinvigorating parts of me that I know I haven't, frankly, accessed in quite some time. Much of that has to do with my own mental wherewithal. So a lot of us are able to get sidetracked and confused very easily when we shift topics from one topic to the other. So for that reason, I believe that I've had a lot of followers fall off, and the average numbers are that generally I'll take on 2 more subscribers to this channel and lose 1. So it's been very gradual in terms of how I've grown this channel, even though I'm talking about things that have to do with the common interest of all of us. The common interest of all of us has to do with sustainability. I recognize that as I'm purchasing and buying new things, well, so is everyone else. And we're all trying to use these devices that we're purchasing in order to better our own lives. In my particular case, I don't want to better just my own life. I want to better the life of all of the nature around me, all of the wildlife around me. And in order to tell that story, I had to think outside the box to try and figure out what is it that I can do that can resonate with somebody else who is maybe thinking similar thoughts. Maybe we can find throughout our patterns of history that our own individual health sometimes has not been fully realized, and we don't realize our full intent and our full level of health because we continue to consume things that are essentially consuming the environment around us. And as we're consuming the environment around us destructively, some of those things are traits that we take on ourselves in the form of anxiety, situations where we are not at ease, where we have a dis-ease, just to put it simply, not to name anything specifically. But the situation is so broad that even our own internal circulation and our levels of stress are caused by external stimulation. So if we're constantly exposed to a stimulation that's negative, for an example, or is associated with negative connotation, then those energies are going to be reciprocated back to us. The only thing we can do is put things on hold. So I'm putting this on hold because I recognize that if I'm losing people and I'm gaining people, then that means that there's a percentage of people who are seeing me as presenting things in a negative way. And for that reason, their thought immediately turns to negative thoughts towards me. So I can't help but struggle past this almost a bell curve of hatred and bell curve of indifference when it comes to showcasing the trash that's all over the trails that we share together. When it comes to showcasing the animals gathering unnaturally in the places that we camp together. When it comes to showcasing the animals in our very own backyard that build nests in our trees and leave evidence of what it is that's coming from our own neighborhoods, from our own energy pools. If I'm unable to relay this information clearly, the only alternative I have is to become such a juggernaut that someone is going to be able to hear me just loud enough to where you can understand the words where I said, if my dad were here, he'd listen to my song, but only if you'd sing along. You would hear those words and start to understand, hey, this is something that's worth noting. This is something worth singing about. This is something I want to dance to, etc., and so forth. All of these things are true. All of these things are things that can make some people agitated, and those agitations are just reflections of one another. If I'm agitating you, you might be agitating me, and vice versa. So it behooves us to communicate at a level where we can understand one another and where we can help one another. If I'm telling you my issues and you have no one to tell it to except for your own circle of friends who I myself am not able to talk with, be it your husbands, your neighbors, your interpreters, etc., and so forth. These people are people with whom you're carrying on a conversation about me. And in some of these cases, I also would like to speak with those people. But those people don't communicate with me. Not yet, anyhow. So that's why I'm putting this on hiatus. That's why today I'm basically recording the last Saturday clip. Unless I find something else, encounter something else amazing, I'll schedule another one for next weekend or throughout the weekends between now and the end of the year. I really don't know. What I do know is that I'm not putting any more effort into this channel as of this upcoming Friday. On that Friday, when I upload the last video that gives you an update of what I've achieved over the course of this last 2 weeks of the month, where not only had I been practicing a vegan challenge, but I also had started to incorporate workouts and even changing my diet substantially or slightly even in some cases. In all of those cases, those documentations are things that I've covered in the past. I've already covered and recovered and researched for the things that I did so that I could learn to accomplish those things again. If you haven't gone out of your way to search with good intent about how to remove those floaters out of your eyes or the veins that are causing you pain or the stresses that have postponed any of your outings, if you haven't looked to yourself for remedying those issues, let me first start out by saying anything that we consume that's destructive will also postpone the recovery process for those issues that we're trying to work through right now. So if you listened to this song from the beginning, from start to finish, you know that I got some of the words out of order. If you're familiar with the song, who knows, this song might be online for minutes, for months, for decades. I really don't know. I know that in another country, they've already started to shut down the internet, which was previously accessible for all regions in order to research things from all areas around the globe. Communication is something that is now being limited by our own leaders. And with that in mind, the only thing I want to continue to tell you right now is that while we are spinning our wheels, or appear to have been spinning our wheels, having a conversation where we accomplish something that was meaningful, I've decided to instead go another route. And although I extend my welcome to you and also my apology for not following through any further, I hope to our higher power that you've enjoyed everything that you've seen and that you understand where I'm coming from. Because until you can understand where I'm coming from, my family has been generationally robbed. And my family is not too much different from many families in this nation itself and in many nations who have been generationally robbed. While our overseers and our peers and our guardians and our loved ones simply stand by. They don't quite hear the words that are being said yet because there's no heart, there's no connection. If you have a connection to me with a heart, please leave me a comment that has to do with anything other than my health, with something that has to do with blessings. But more than that, when you talk with your friends and loved ones about me, perhaps don't mention my dreams at all if you're not going to be supportive of them in a mixed setting with other people, for an example. This is the number one reason why on many of the channels here, they tell you, don't share your plans. Don't share your plans with people, even in your close circles, because they may only share those plans with other people who would never go to sleep with you on their mind in a good set of thoughts. That's how energy works. That's the simple truth of it. The more that you see that in this series, and the more that you see that in real life as you see these transformations occur, the more I hope that you take on the journey yourself as well, especially if you've already lost something or someone due to these conditions of illness, especially if you've lost a part of yourself. And you can take that however it's meant to be heard. Especially if you've lost a piece and it's continuing to eke away at parts of you. Especially if you've continued to feel rejected, anxious, let down, especially if you've had to do things over and over because you feel compelled to try to do something right. The thing that you need to do is resolve your mind so that you can hear the quiet whispering that's causing these anxieties. Have you helped someone today? Have you helped anyone today, including yourself? Have you done anything new to bring health back to yourself so that this wealth that we are establishing in this group even can grow profoundly? I believe you have. Even if you've removed yourself from the conversation, I notice that the likes sometimes and unlikes are by the same people. I notice when people give a thumbs down because they take something personally without ever understanding that what I'm saying goes across the board. You might think that I'm talking with you specifically in this video, and maybe I am. Maybe it's the spiritual devil we hear. The Lord is my salvation, so whom shall I fear? Maybe it's the way that I feel when you're near. Maybe it's the way that our ways disappear. There's a lot of history that has been told to us by the victors. There are a lot of accounts of civilizations in my nation that were here well before there were arrived settlers. And in those accounts, and even by the buildings that exist and remain to this day, even in those areas where the artwork is etched permanently on the stone, or as permanently as it can be, we can see success driven by people who were able to communicate. If you're able to communicate, praise our higher power. If you're unable to communicate, if your tongue is tied, let it loose. I absolve you from the things that are keeping your tongue tied. I wish you the spirit of peaceful communication, and that you have a great day, and that you enjoyed this review where I showed you a guitar and I told you a story in order to showcase one of the last acoustics that I received so that I could complete my review of acoustic guitars. I will probably record my series of electric guitars at some point, and maybe I'll present them on this channel, maybe I won't. But again, for right now, my initial intent is simply to put in my 2-week notice and to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments, those of you who have commented. I apologize if anything I've given to you or offered to you has caused any kind of discomfort. The only thing that I'm trying to do is to put us at ease by bringing us gifts of positive encouragement and energy that's peaceful. And so if you cannot see that, then it's possible that what you're looking at might not reflect the true image, which is why I keep recording this in 4K, so you can see the sweat beads on my forehead, so you can see my figure as it changes and transforms, and so that you can maybe believe that you can do something positive for yourself as well. Till next time, thank you so much for watching. Peace, love, and all that old school stuff.